Hey everyone, great to have you join us for this pretty unusual journey. Today, we're diving into the world where philosophy meets classic tabletop gaming, specifically Dungeons and Dragons, and its famous alignment system.
Yup. This overview is based on a detailed document called Philosophes Correspondent AUX Alignments D&D, and it's wild how it brings together thinkers from Confucius to Friedrich Nietzsche, and then lines them up with wizards and rogues.
Right? I don't know about you, but when I hear lawful good, my first thought isn't usually Confucius at the table, rolling for initiative.
Or picturing Ayn Rand and Emma Goldman like at opposite ends of a D&D campaign? Kind of amazing. But for folks listening in, what's really the point of matching all these philosophers to alignments?
Okay, so the main goal is to use the D&D alignment chart as a lens to look at global philosophical perspectives on morality and ethics. The document goes deep, picking thinkers from all sorts of traditions: Western, Eastern, Buddhist, anarchist, even Islamic and African philosophies.
That's super broad. And I think it makes sense to highlight that the document wants people, gamers, philosophers, anyone really, to see how these categories we play around with in role playing games are actually rooted in serious debates about what's right and wrong.
Also, it's not just about philosophy trivia, it's about bringing cultural diversity, lived experience, and real historical perspectives to the table. I mean, who hasn't wanted to play a Canton Paladin, right?
Or maybe a Nietzschean bard. I bet that's a wild ride.
For starters, let's talk about how the philosophers were picked. According to the document, the choices were based on big ideas, key works, and how closely their views match up with D&D's two axes, law versus chaos and good versus evil.
Which, honestly, makes sense because the alignment grid is about those axes. Law stands for order, structure, and tradition. Chaos stands for rebellion and individualism. And neutrality is all about balance.
Right, and on the good/evil axis, good is all about compassion and altruism. Evil is more self-interest, sometimes cruelty. Neutrality there means more moderate pragmatism. It's kind of wild that centuries of philosophical arguments are getting boiled down into a 3 by 3 chart.
And here's what's super fun. The document mixes people up. So for lawful good, you might get a heavy hitter from Prussia, Immanuel Kant. And then on the same line, someone like Confucius focused on social harmony from ancient China.
Yep. That brings us to a big point the document hammers home: cultural diversity. So we're not just dealing with Europeans or Americans here. There's Laozi from China, Nagarjuna from India, Al Farabi from Central Asia, Islamic thinkers, anarchists, and more.
That means we get a whole rainbow of perspectives, right? And like a bunch of the philosophers featured are from outside the West, with only two women, Emma Goldman and Ayn Rand. That says a lot about history's philosophy club being pretty exclusive.
Totally. The coverage spans thousands of years, from Confucius way back to Peter Singer, who's still writing today. Geography wise, this thing goes from ancient Asia through Africa and up to modern Europe and Australia.
The length of tradition here is wild. So when we say lawful good or chaotic neutral, we're echoing like 2,500 years of moral argument.
Let's break down those law/chaos and good/chaos and good/evil axes a bit more. So, on the law side, you've got order, hierarchy, structure, think Confucian social roles, or the Stoicism of Marcus Aurelius.
And on the chaos side, it's Kropotkin and Goldman who are all about mutual aid and tearing down oppressive systems. Chaos isn't just do whatever you want. It's more about individual freedom and resisting rigid structures.
For the good/evil spectrum, good's about empathy and the urge to help, like Singer's effective altruism or Thich Nhat Hanh's Buddhist compassion. Evil can mean outright cruelty, like the Marquis de Sade, or pure self interest, like Ayn Rand.
Neutrality stands out to me as either pragmatic or cosmic. Take Laozi with Wu Wei, action without force, just letting things flow. Or Marcus Aurelius, who's sometimes more about accepting fate rather than chasing good or evil.
All right, so the best part, the 9 alignments and the thinkers mapped to each. For lawful good, we already said Kant and Confucius. Kant's all about duty, act only according to that maxim, and Confucius focuses on virtue and social order through, like, rituals and tradition.
Exactly. Lawful good means rules, but for the sake of helping everyone. And get this, Kant wouldn't even lie to save someone because the rule is that strict.
Next, neutral good lines up with Peter Singer. He's this Australian philosopher calling for practical, not just theoretical altruism. Thich Nhat Hanh, the Vietnamese Buddhist monk, believed in using mindfulness and compassion to actually change society.
I love that. Singer is super focused on results, not abstract rules. And Thich Nhat Hanh. He's out there trying to make peace during a war, not just talking about it.
Then there's Chaotic Good, Pierre Kropotkin, the Russian prince turned anarchist, and Emma Goldman, who was a fierce defender of individual freedom and social justice. Kropotkin's mutual aid is like, we thrive best together, willingly, not under imposed authority.
And Emma Goldman, she's a firebrand, super into personal expression and breaking social chains. Plus, she connects anarchy to joy and creativity. Ever heard the quote, "If I can't dance, I don't want your revolution"?
Lawful neutral is a different vibe. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic Roman emperor, believed the universe is ordered and the wise person just plays their role with discipline. Al-Farabi from Central Asia blends Greek reason with Islam, so an ideal society is a perfectly structured organism.
Like, lawful neutral is order for its own sake. Not good, not bad, just everyone doing their job. And I love Marcus Aurelius' line about the beehive and the bee, universal duty.
True neutral is fascinating. Laozi says harmony is letting things be, no forcing, just following the Tao. And Nagarjuna's Buddhism takes it further. Think emptiness, where all chaos, good, evil are just made up in our heads.
Haha, so it's all about balance or just not picking sides at all. And that middle way idea. It's so zen or actually so madhyamaka for the philosophy nerds out there.
Chaotic neutral, that's where you find Nietzsche and Camus. Nietzsche is big on creating your own values, being the Übermensch, right? Camus is about facing the absurd, finding meaning, even if the universe doesn't care.
You must become who you are, said Nietzsche. And Camus, with his Imagine Sisyphus happy, goes like, don't give in to despair, make your own meaning, even if life is a bit, well, absurd.
For lawful evil, we've got Machiavelli and Hobbes. Machiavelli says rulers should do whatever it takes to keep power, including lying or violence, as long as the system stays. Hobbes, he thinks humans are, like, brutish in a state of nature, so you need an all-powerful Leviathan to keep everyone in line.
I mean, that sounds rough. But it's fascinating, right? Both are about order, but not for anyone's good, just because order stops chaos.
Neutral evil, Ayn Rand's objectivism, is all about rational self-interest, making yourself your own highest priority. Max Stirner is even more extreme, like, the only thing that matters is me, the unique one.
It's total self-focus, even if it means exploiting others. And Sterner, he literally says his cause is founded on nothing.
Finally, there's chaotic evil. Marquis de Sade is all about total, violent transgression, breaking all rules, all taboos. Callicles from Plato's Gorgias says the strong should dominate because that's nature.
Yikes. This is the darkest alignment. The document points out it's pretty rare to find legit philosophers who defend outright cruelty, but for the sake of the grid, these are the wild cards.
Let's quickly zoom out for a comparison. The alignment grid lines up each philosopher's origin, ideas, and contributions, showing where the big differences are. For example, Kant's focus on universal rules is worlds away from Nietzsche's call to create new values.
Right. The fun part is when you see debates, Confucius versus Laozi, order versus effortless flow, or Kropotkin's mutual aid clash with Hobbes's war of all against all.
The document also makes it clear these are simplifications. Real philosophers are complicated, and, like, their views changed over their lifetimes. Plus, the system is a teaching tool, not a scientific category.
Not forgetting, historical context matters. The philosophy canon was, and sometimes still is, pretty exclusive. Only two women and a heavy Western tilt. And yeah, not every culture fits the nine-box grid.
Still, there are usage notes for role players. Drawing on these models can make stories richer, and, understanding all this could, honestly, make for more thoughtful games and characters. Ever think about what shape your paladin's moral code should take?
Well, to wrap things up, mapping philosophy to D and D alignments makes big questions easier to talk about and way more fun. Every alignment and thinker gives us new ways to see the tension between order, freedom, and self-interest.
Yeah. Whether your next game character is a stoic monk or an existential bard, just remember, behind your stats and dice rolls are thousands of years of debate on what it means to live well, do good, and sometimes throw a little chaos into the mix. Thanks for hanging out with us, everyone.